Most performative, dancing at charity events, sword fighting for the cameras, dropping massive donations from his personal. Netflix is betting on Beckham, not Markle. For Meghan, that stings, because behind the scenes, there were dinners, photos, royal weddings, but then it all blew up. It only boosted their standing. Meghan, meanwhile, seems more distant from every close to the palace. Say Charles is actually more open to Harry now than he is to William. It's bizarre, but also very with William's neatly knotted ties and polished speeches. According to her, people want fun, no longer just symbolic. He's now actively representing the king's trust on international fronts, described as too careful, too reserved, even lazy by some billionaire heiress married to Brooklyn Beckham. Meghan's been mentoring her through family drama with longtime frenemy Victoria Beckham. Not just rolling it out, shining it up, blasting.
Meghan Markle's story has always been one of ambition, reinvention, and constant reinvention under the harsh spotlight of fame. When she first entered the royal family, millions across the globe believed they were watching a modern fairy tale unfold. An American actress marrying a British prince, breaking barriers of tradition, and reshaping what royalty could look like in the 21st century. But fairy tales rarely survive in the real world, and Meghan's journey has proven to be far more complicated than she ever imagined. Instead of stability, she found herself in constant battles against the press, against palace politics, and even against former friends who once stood by her side. And now, as Meghan faces professional challenges and personal rivalries, her attention has turned towards someone she once considered an ally, Victoria Beckham. The clash between Meghan and Victoria is more than a celebrity disagreement. It is about power, influence, and the unrelenting world of modern media where only one person can dominate the spotlight. When Meghan and Prince Harry stepped away from royal duties in 2020, it was one of the most shocking moves in modern royal history. Their decision to leave Britain, relocate to California, and pursue independence was framed as an act of courage. They wanted to escape the rigid structures of palace life and build careers that aligned with their values. Hollywood seemed ready to embrace them. Major companies fought to secure deals with the couple, and Netflix came out on top with a contract worth tens of millions of dollars. At the time, it felt like Meghan and Harry were unstoppable. The media buzz was relentless, and the anticipation for their projects was sky high. Meghan believed this was her chance to step out of the shadow of the crown and into her own light as a global content creator. The first wave of excitement seemed to prove her right. Their Netflix documentary was released with massive hype. Trailers dominated social media, articles filled every headline, and the project was marketed as a groundbreaking look into the couple's lives. The series offered candid moments, emotional interviews, and revelations about their struggles with the monarchy. Audiences tuned in by the millions, and for a while, Meghan felt vindicated. This was the story she had wanted to tell, unfiltered and on her own terms. But as the weeks passed, a different reality began to emerge. Critics argued that the series was repetitive, offering little new information beyond what Meghan and Harry had already shared in interviews. Some viewers grew tired of what they saw as constant complaints. Ratings began to dip, and Netflix executives quietly questioned whether the massive investment in the Sussexes would truly pay off. For Meghan, this was a crushing blow. She had envisioned a long future with Netflix, filled with multiple series, documentaries, and creative projects. But soon, troubling signs appeared. Her animated children's series, which had been announced with excitement, was abruptly canceled before production could begin. Other projects stalled in development. Insiders whispered that Netflix was losing faith in her ability to deliver content that would keep audiences engaged beyond the initial headlines. For a woman who had placed so much hope in building an entertainment empire, this was deeply unsettling. While Meghan's star seemed to dim, another familiar face was rising. Victoria Beckham, once known primarily as Posh Spice from the legendary Spice Girls, had successfully reinvented herself as a fashion designer and cultural icon. Alongside her husband David Beckham, she had built a brand that was both glamorous and aspirational. But what made the Beckhams different was their ability to remain relatable while maintaining global recognition. When Netflix announced a new documentary focused on David Beckham's life and career, few predicted just how successful it would become. The series was an instant hit, offering not only a nostalgic look at David's legendary football career, but also a warm, humanizing portrait of the entire Beckham family. Audiences were charmed by Victoria's wit, humor, and vulnerability. For years, she had been caricatured as cold or aloof, but the Netflix documentary revealed a different side. She was funny, self-aware, and fiercely supportive of her family. Fans fell in love with her all over again. The Beckham documentary not only boosted Victoria's profile, but also solidified the couple's status as Britain's unofficial royal family of glamour. For Netflix, it was a goldmine. The series attracted massive viewership, glowing reviews, and international buzz. In one swift move, Victoria Beckham had become the face of Netflix's success, a role Meghan once imagined for herself. The personal sting of this transition cannot be understated. Meghan and Victoria had once been close, even friendly. During Meghan's early days in the United Kingdom, Victoria had offered her guidance, helping her navigate elite social circles. Meghan was often seen wearing Victoria's designs, a public show of support and friendship, but then came the fallout. Meghan allegedly accused Victoria of leaking private details to the press, an accusation that deeply offended the Beckhams. Though never proven, the rumor was enough to sever their friendship. David Beckham, fiercely protective of his family, was particularly insulted. Invitations dwindled, dinners stopped, and the warm bond between the couples dissolved into silence. Now, years later, Meghan must watch as Victoria thrives not only in fashion, but also in the very entertainment world Meghan once thought she controlled. To make matters worse, David Beckham's loyalty has shifted closer to the royal family. Once a friendly supporter of Harry, David has grown distant after feeling snubbed at public events. Instead, he has embraced a stronger relationship with King Charles and Queen Camilla. Photographs of the Beckhams laughing with royals at events have become common, while Meghan and Harry remain notably absent from such gatherings. For the Beckhams, this alignment strengthens their brand as a glamorous yet respectable couple firmly tied to Britain's cultural identity. For Meghan, it is another reminder of her growing isolation. Her professional setbacks only intensify the contrast. Spotify ended its partnership with Meghan after just one season of her podcast, citing creative differences. Her lifestyle brand has faced delays, struggling to make the impact she envisioned. Hollywood, once eager to align with her name, has grown cautious. Even Oprah Winfrey, who once championed Meghan with a globally famous interview, has kept her distance. Meghan's narrative, once dominated by themes of resilience and empowerment, now often revolves around disappointment and missed opportunities. Every headline about Victoria Beckham's success feels like salt in an open wound. Prince Harry's trajectory adds another layer of complexity. While Meghan battles professional frustrations, Harry has been carving out a slightly different path. His recent public appearances show him smiling, engaging, and even attempting to rebuild ties with the royal family. King Charles has extended small gestures of warmth toward him, signaling that reconciliation may be possible. For Meghan, however, such reconciliation seems far less likely. She remains the figure blamed for division, and the palace shows little interest in repairing that relationship. The growing contrast between Meghan's struggles and Harry's gradual return to royal circles fuels speculation about tension behind closed doors. The media has also played its part in shaping this rivalry. William and Kate, once flawless in the public eye, are now occasionally criticized for being too cautious and overly polished. Against this backdrop, the Beckhams' authenticity shines brighter. They are fashionable yet approachable, famous yet grounded. Meghan, by contrast, is increasingly portrayed as dramatic and consumed by grievances. Her attempts to mentor Nicola Peltz, Victoria's daughter-in-law, have backfired, with stories leaking that only deepen perceptions of desperation. The irony of Meghan advising Nicola, while her feud with Victoria remains unresolved, only highlights how entangled and messy these relationships have become. At its heart, the Meghan-Victoria rivalry reveals the cold truths of fame. Meghan once imagined herself as the ultimate modern icon, a woman who could combine royalty, Hollywood, and humanitarian work into one unstoppable brand. For a time, it looked possible. But fame is not loyal. Audiences shift their attention quickly, and companies like Netflix follow the numbers, not the sentiment. Victoria Beckham embodies stability, consistency, and global appeal without the baggage of controversy. Meghan, despite her talents, cannot escape the shadow of drama that follows her. For Meghan, Netflix's embrace of Victoria Beckham feels like betrayal, but the reality is simpler and more brutal. Netflix is not choosing friends, it is choosing success. Victoria delivered a hit that captivated audiences around the world. Meghan's projects, despite massive promotion, failed to sustain interest. In the unforgiving world of entertainment, that is the only metric that matters.